Ever felt like you're chasing her, sending message after message, but she replies with nothing more than a distant response or, worse, silence? What if I told you that the real key to making her want to text and call you every single day isn't about sending the perfect message or being available all the time? It's about something far deeper, rooted in the ancient wisdom of Stoicism. In today's video, I'm going to reveal how a shift in your mindset, inspired by Stoic philosophy, can turn the tables and make her reach out to you. We're talking about harnessing the power of silence, restraint, and emotional control, not as a tactic, but as a lifestyle. This is how you become the man she can't stop thinking about, the one she eagerly waits to hear from, and the one whose message she's constantly checking her phone for. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to position yourself in her mind as someone she can't resist calling and texting every day. Let's begin. Number 1. Create the culture you want. Are you simply waiting by the phone, hoping she'll reach out? If so, you're giving away all your power. The truth is, many of us fall into the trap of reacting instead of creating. We wait for her to make the first move, then get frustrated when she doesn't. But what if I told you that the key to getting her to text and call you every day isn't about chasing her, but about crafting a dynamic where she wants to reach out? This is where the magic happens, and it starts with creating the culture you want in your relationship. Imagine the difference it would make if, instead of passively waiting for her to call, you showed her what consistent, healthy communication looks like. You set the standard, and she'll naturally start to follow. You might think, but isn't that manipulative? Not at all. In fact, this is the art of leading by example, a core tenet of Stoicism. Picture this. You've been dating a woman for a few weeks, and you notice she only texts you once in a while, and it's often brief. Instead of complaining or pulling away, you decide to take control of what you can control, your own communication. You start sending thoughtful, engaging texts that make her smile. You make an effort to check in, not with needy energy, but with genuine curiosity about her day. You tell her things like, "I was thinking about that funny story you told me. It made me smile today." What you're doing here is setting a tone, showing her what it feels like to be in contact with someone who cares, but isn't clingy. Over time, she'll start to mirror this behavior. You're not just waiting around for her to text. You're creating a culture where she feels comfortable and excited to reach out to you. And why? Because it feels good to her. It feels warm, safe, and consistent. Here's another layer you can add to this strategy. Build anticipation. Don't always be predictable. Sometimes take a step back and leave a little space. Not in a manipulative way, but in a way that leaves her wondering, what's he up to today? This creates a sense of mystery, making her want to reach out and check in with you. When you embody the Stoic principle of focusing on your actions, you stop worrying about what she's doing or not doing. Instead, you create a relationship culture that she wants to be part of. The key isn't to demand her attention. It's to become someone whose presence is missed when you're not around. When you show her what healthy, consistent communication looks like, she'll naturally want to text and call you every day, not because she feels obligated, but because she's drawn to the energy you bring. And that's the real power of Stoicism in relationships. It's not about control, but about influence through your own calm, confident presence. Number 2, model, don't mirror. Here's a situation we've all been in. You're interested in her, but you're playing it safe, trying to match her energy, waiting for her to take the lead. Maybe you're worried about seeming too eager, or don't want to get hurt if she's not as invested. But what happens when you both do this? You end up in a stalemate. Two people mirroring each other, neither one willing to take the first step, and the connection starts to fizzle out. Let me ask you this. Why settle for matching her level of interest when you could be the one to inspire it instead? This is where the idea of modeling instead of mirroring comes into play, and it's also where Stoicism offers a valuable lesson: to be proactive and lead by example, even if it means stepping into a place of vulnerability. Imagine you're dating someone new, and you notice she's a bit reserved at first, so you pull back too, waiting for her to show more interest before you do. Days go by without much contact, and now you're both stuck wondering why the other person isn't making a move. You've fallen into the trap of mirroring, letting her actions dictate yours. Instead of creating a strong dynamic, you've let hesitation and fear take the lead. Now let's look at it differently. Instead of mirroring her level of engagement, you decide to model the kind of behavior you want to see. You start being more expressive, sharing little pieces of your day, or sending a voice note just to let her know you were thinking about her. You don't do this with expectations. You do it because you're showing her what it feels like to be with someone who's warm, open, and genuinely interested. You're leading by example, not following her lead. You're setting a tone that's welcoming and engaging, creating a safe space for her to open up. It's about showing her the level of connection you want, rather than waiting for her to set the standard. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is the idea of being true to your principles, regardless of external circumstances. In relationships, this means showing up as your authentic self, even if it feels risky. If you want a deeper, more connected relationship, you have to be willing to be vulnerable first. Think about it like this. You're building a bridge between you and her, but someone has to lay down the first plank. By modeling the warmth and engagement you want from her, you're essentially saying, "This is how I want us to feel together. This is the energy I'm bringing." And even if she doesn't immediately reciprocate, you've shown her what it looks like to be open and connected. Over time, she'll likely start to mirror your energy, not because you pushed her, but because she feels the comfort and safety you've created. When you model the kind of connection you want, you're not waiting for her to tell you how to act. You're leading the way, showing her what it's like to be with someone who's present, engaged, and intentional. This is where true attraction is built, not from playing games or waiting for her to make the first move, but from stepping into your role as a leader in the relationship. So the next time you find yourself hesitating, remember this. Don't mirror her behavior. Model the kind of connection you want to see. Lead with vulnerability. Focus on what you can control, and watch how she starts to respond. You're not just creating a relationship. You're setting the foundation for a deeper, more meaningful connection, where she's the one reaching out to you every day. Before we move on, I want to hear from you. Have you ever found yourself mirroring someone else's energy in a relationship, only to realize it was holding you back from building a deeper connection? Or maybe you've taken the lead and seen how it changes the dynamic for the better. Let's keep the conversation going. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're up for it, just type, "I'm ready to model, not mirror." Now let's uncover the next powerful insight. Number 3, reciprocity starts with you. Ever wondered why she isn't texting you back as often as you'd like? Why it feels like you're doing all the work to keep the conversation going? The truth is, one of the most powerful forces in any relationship is the principle of reciprocity. But here's the catch. It always starts with you. Instead of waiting around for her to make the first move, ask yourself, what kind of energy are you putting out there? Are you reaching out with genuine warmth and curiosity, or are you texting her just to get a response? If it's the latter, she can feel that. Women have an incredible intuition for sensing when a message comes from a place of neediness rather than authenticity. The secret is to focus on what you give, not what you get. And here's where Stoicism can guide you. Approach your communication with the mindset of sharing, not seeking. Think about the last message you sent her. Was it something simple like, "Hey, what's up?" or "How are you?" If so, that's okay, but it's not exactly memorable. Now imagine if you took it a step further. Let's say you've been talking to a woman you really like. Instead of sending a plain, "Hey, what's up?" text, you decide to lead with warmth and curiosity. You send her something like, "Just heard a song that reminded me of you. It put a smile on my face. How's your day going?" It's personal, it's thoughtful, and it shows that you're genuinely interested in her. She'll likely respond with enthusiasm, maybe even ask what song it was or why it made you think of her. You've created an opening for a deeper conversation, and she'll feel the urge to reciprocate because it feels good to be remembered and appreciated. You've set the tone for how you want the interaction to feel: warm, engaged, and fun. This is how you make her want to text you first. You've given her a reason to, and she'll mirror that energy back to you. In Stoic philosophy, the focus is always on what you can control. You can't control her response or how quickly she texts you back, but you can control the quality of your own messages. You can control the energy and intention you bring to your communication. Instead of texting her because you need her validation, text her because you genuinely want to share a moment with her. This is what it means to live by Stoic principles in your dating life. You're not chasing her. You're simply giving without expectation. You're showing up as your authentic self, and that's magnetic. When you approach communication this way, it's not about scoring points or getting her to respond. It's about creating a positive interaction that she enjoys and wants more of. Marcus Aurelius, a key Stoic thinker, often wrote about the importance of doing good without expecting anything in return. In relationships, this translates to being generous with your attention, your compliments, and your kindness. When you text her because you genuinely want to share a laugh or check in on her day, you're practicing this Stoic principle. You're giving her a piece of your good energy without needing her response as validation. And here's the beauty of it. When you give with an open heart, people naturally want to give back. She'll feel that your messages come from a place of genuine interest, not because you need something from her. Over time, this creates a dynamic where she starts to reach out first, where she feels safe and excited to share her day with you because she knows you bring positivity and warmth. Number 4. Set the standard and maintain it. There's a powerful truth in relationships. You teach people how to treat you based on the standards you set. If you consistently show up with effort, kindness, and thoughtfulness, but she's only giving you half-hearted responses, it's time to take a step back. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate her behavior. It's about honoring your own time, energy, and self-worth. When you set a standard and maintain it, you communicate something important. You respect yourself enough not to settle for less. This mindset isn't just about getting what you want. It's about embodying a deep sense of self-respect that naturally attracts others, and it's a core teaching of Stoic philosophy. Know your worth, establish boundaries, and let your actions align with your values. We've all been there. You really like someone, so you start putting in extra effort. You text her first every morning, plan thoughtful dates, and go out of your way to show her you care. But after a while, you notice that she's not matching your energy. Maybe her responses are short, or she only reaches out when it's convenient for her. It's tempting to keep giving, hoping that she'll eventually see your value and reciprocate. But here's the hard truth. When you keep over-giving without receiving the same level of effort in return, you're teaching her that it's okay to give you less. You're setting a standard where she doesn't have to meet you halfway. And instead of building attraction, this often leads to frustration and resentment. Imagine you've started dating someone new, and you've been initiating most of the contact. You decide to set a standard. You want a balanced dynamic where both of you make an effort to connect. Instead of texting her first every single day, you pull back slightly and see if she initiates. The next day, she doesn't reach out, and you might feel a pang of anxiety, wondering if she's losing interest. But this is a crucial moment. Instead of rushing to fill the silence, you hold your ground. You wait. And what often happens next is surprising. She starts to notice your absence and realizes she's been taking your effort for granted. She might text you later, saying, "Hey, I've been thinking about you. How's your day going?" In this moment, you've taught her something important. Your time and effort are valuable. You're not going to chase her. You're inviting her to meet you at the same level of energy. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about setting a standard of mutual respect. The Stoics believe that true self-respect comes from knowing your values and living by them, regardless of external circumstances. When you set a standard in your dating life, you're practicing this Stoic wisdom. You're saying, "I know what I bring to the table, and I won't lower my standards just to keep someone's attention." Setting a standard isn't about controlling her behavior. It's about honoring yourself. When you maintain your standard, you're communicating that you know your worth and that you're not afraid to step back if the effort isn't reciprocated. This kind of self-respect is magnetic. It's attractive because it shows that you're a person who values his time, energy, and emotional investment. And when you live by this Stoic principle, you'll notice something powerful. She'll start to rise to meet the standard you've set, not because you demanded it, but because you showed her what it looks like to value yourself. And that's the kind of dynamic that builds real, lasting attraction. Let's pause for a moment and reflect on this. Have you ever found yourself giving more than you received in a relationship, only to feel drained and unappreciated? Or maybe you've experienced that shift when you started setting higher standards for yourself and noticed how it changed the dynamic for the better. I'd love to hear your stories and thoughts in the comments below. And if you're ready to raise the bar in your own life, just type, "I'm setting the standard now." Let's keep going on this journey together. Number 5, be present, not persistent. It's a fine line, isn't it? You want to show her that you care, that you're genuinely interested, but there's a danger in crossing over into persistence. When you're too persistent, texting her constantly or seeking her attention non-stop, it can start to feel like pressure. And here's the thing, pressure often leads to pulling away. Instead of feeling closer, she might start to feel overwhelmed or even smothered. So how do you navigate this delicate balance? The answer lies in being present rather than persistent. It's about showing up fully in each interaction without needing to force the next one. It's a concept deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy, the idea of mindfulness and the importance of focusing on the quality of each moment rather than trying to control the outcome. Let's break it down with a common scenario. You've had a great date and you can't stop thinking about her. So the next day, you text her in the morning, then again in the afternoon, and then once more in the evening, asking how her day is going. Your intentions are good, you just want to connect. But from her perspective, it can start to feel like you're trying too hard. Instead of giving her a chance to miss you or reach out herself, you've filled every gap with your own messages. This kind of persistence can make her feel like she doesn't have space to breathe, or that she's expected to respond at every turn. It might even come across as insecurity, as though you need constant validation from her to feel good about the connection. This is why it's crucial to focus on presence instead of persistence. In Stoicism, there's a strong emphasis on mindfulness and being present. The Stoics taught that we should focus on the moment we're in, rather than constantly worrying about what comes next. When you apply this to your communication, it means giving your full attention to the interaction at hand, without obsessing over when she'll reply or what her next move will be. Instead of texting her multiple times in a row, practice restraint. Send one thoughtful message, then let it be. This shows that you're confident and secure, that you trust the connection enough not to need constant back and forth. It also makes each message more meaningful because it's not diluted by a flood of follow-up texts. Let's say you're talking to her after a long day. You send her a voice note instead of a text saying, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you that I've been thinking about our conversation earlier. It made me smile." No need to reply right away. Just wanted to share that. This is you being present, sharing a genuine thought without the expectation of an immediate reply. It's confident, relaxed, and shows that you're not chasing after her attention. What often happens is that she'll appreciate the thoughtfulness of your message. She might listen to it when she has a moment, smile, and then reply when she feels ready. You've given her the gift of space and shown her that you're secure in your own value. When you're present instead of persistent, you become a breath of fresh air in her day. You're not overwhelming her with constant messages or seeking her validation. Instead, you're confident enough to reach out thoughtfully and then step back, giving her space to come to you when she's ready. This creates a dynamic where she starts to look forward to hearing from you, because your messages are meaningful and rare, not just filler. Remember, true connection isn't about how often you text. It's about the quality of each interaction. When you focus on being present, on enjoying the moment without trying to control what happens next, you create a calm, confident energy that draws her in. She'll notice that you're different from the others, that you're not seeking her attention desperately, but offering it with intention. Number 6, embrace vulnerability without fear. Let's be real. The dating world often makes us feel like showing too much interest is a bad thing. We worry that if we text first, if we're the ones to reach out more often, it might make us look desperate or needy. So, we hold back, play it cool, and try to mirror her energy instead of expressing what we truly feel. But here's the truth. The strongest connections aren't built on playing it safe. They're built on boldness, honesty, and the courage to embrace vulnerability. Think about it for a moment. You meet someone you really like, but instead of texting her when you feel like it, you wait. You check the clock, wonder if it's too soon, and worry about what she might think. This hesitation isn't coming from a place of strength. It's driven by fear. The fear of coming across as desperate, of losing your cool, of getting rejected. But what if I told you that this fear is actually holding you back from creating the kind of connection you want? What if, instead of worrying about how your interest might be perceived, you approached every interaction with genuine clarity and confidence? This is where the Stoic mindset can help transform your approach. In Stoicism, vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It's a mark of strength. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus taught that true confidence comes from self-awareness, from knowing your own value and being unafraid to express your feelings, regardless of the outcome. When you reach out to someone with good intentions, you're not being desperate. You're being clear about what you want. You're showing that you're secure enough to express interest without needing a certain response to feel validated. Let's say you're interested in a woman and you genuinely enjoy talking to her. Instead of overthinking when to text her, you decide to be straightforward. You send a message like, "I've been thinking about our conversation from last night. It was one of the highlights of my day. I'd love to hear more about your thoughts on it." Notice the difference here. You're not hiding behind vague messages or waiting for her to make the first move. You're leading with clarity and authenticity. You're not playing games. You're being real. And guess what? That kind of directness and honesty is incredibly attractive. It shows her that you're confident in who you are and that you're not afraid to show interest. Think about it. Which man do you think she's more likely to be drawn to? The one who hesitates, second guesses himself, and waits for her to text first, or the one who boldly shows up, expresses interest, and isn't afraid to be vulnerable? Women are attracted to confidence, and real confidence comes from self-assurance, from knowing your value and not needing to hide it. If you want her to call and text you more often, it starts with you showing up authentically. Reach out because you genuinely want to, not because you're trying to get something in return. Be bold enough to express interest, even if it feels a bit risky. This isn't about throwing yourself at her feet. It's about standing tall, showing your true self and saying, "This is who I am, and I'm not afraid to be seen." When you embody this mindset, you'll notice something amazing. She'll start reaching out to you more, calling and texting, because she knows that with you, she's getting something genuine, something real, and that's what makes all the difference. If you made it this far, you're already ahead of the game, showing a genuine desire to break free from the usual dating cliches and embrace a deeper, more authentic connection. It takes courage to reflect on these ideas and challenge the fear of vulnerability. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever held back from showing interest because you worried it might seem like too much? Share your story in the comments below. Or, if you're ready to take a step towards authenticity, just type, "I choose to show up authentically." Number 7, create a sense of absence. Here's something most people get wrong in the early stages of dating. They think being constantly available, always ready to reply at lightning speed, is a surefire way to win her over. But here's the reality. If you're always there, always reaching out, you leave little room for her to want to reach out to you. Without realizing it, you might be smothering the very connection you're trying to build. There's a subtle yet powerful shift that happens when you create a sense of absence. It's about finding the balance between being present and giving her the space to notice the void when you're not. Think of it like a favorite song. If you listen to it on repeat nonstop, it loses its impact. But when you take a break and come back to it, you appreciate it even more. The same principle applies to relationships. Imagine this scenario. You've had a great date. You're texting back and forth, and the conversation is flowing. It's tempting to keep the momentum going, to keep texting until the conversation naturally fizzles out. But what if instead you paused at a high point? You say something like, "I'm about to head into a meeting, but I loved our chat. Let's continue this later." By doing this, you're not cutting her off. You're creating a moment of anticipation. You're giving her time to think about the conversation, to reflect on how much she enjoyed it, and to look forward to when you'll talk again. You're exercising self-discipline, a key Stoic principle, by holding back, instead of indulging in the need to always be in touch. In Stoicism, Self-discipline is the cornerstone of a well-lived life. It's about knowing when to act and when to hold back. This restraint isn't about playing games. It's about having the wisdom to understand that constant availability can dilute the excitement and value of your presence. The ancient Stoics believed in moderation, in not overindulging even in good things. When you're always the one initiating contact, you might feel like you're being attentive, but you're also removing any opportunity for her to miss you. By creating a little space, you're giving her the gift of absence, which can be just as powerful as your presence. Psychologists call this the scarcity principle. When something is scarce or limited, it becomes more valuable. If you're always available, she might start to take your attention for granted. But when you create a sense of absence, it triggers a psychological response. She starts to think about you more, wondering what you're up to, missing the energy you bring into her day. After a few great dates and consistent texting, you might say, "I've got a busy couple of days coming up, so I might be a bit quiet, but I'm looking forward to catching up when things calm down." This isn't you disappearing without a word. It's you setting the expectation that you'll be less available, and it gives her time to feel the contrast between your presence and your absence. What you'll often find is that during this time, she'll start to think about you more, maybe even initiate contact herself. The space you've given her has created a void that she wants to fill, and when she reaches out, it's because she genuinely wants to reconnect. The art of creating a sense of absence isn't about withholding or playing hard to get. It's about understanding the balance between connection and space. When you're always available, you remove the chance for her to realize how much she enjoys your presence. But when you practice self-discipline and create intentional moments of absence, you're giving her the opportunity to miss you, to crave your company, and to value the connection you've built. So embrace the power of absence, give her room to breathe and time to reflect. When you come back into her orbit, she'll feel the difference, and that's when she'll start to realize just how much your presence means to her. It's a lesson the Stoics knew well. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give is the chance to miss what was once taken for granted. Number 8, focus on your own value. The more you chase after her attention, the more likely you are to push her away. It's a paradox. The harder you try to get her to notice you, the less effective your efforts become. But when you focus on building your own value and living your best life, you create a powerful shift. You stop seeking her validation, and instead, you become the kind of person she wants to be around. It's a mindset shift rooted deeply in Stoic philosophy, where the emphasis is on self-improvement and inner growth. Think about two different men. One constantly checks his phone, waiting for her reply, feeling anxious when she doesn't text back right away. He texts her multiple times a day, always trying to keep the conversation going. He's making her the center of his universe, hoping that his attention will win her over. The other man, he's busy, he's working on his goals, hitting the gym, hanging out with friends, diving into his hobbies, and improving himself. He enjoys talking to her, but he's not waiting by the phone. He texts her when he has something meaningful to say, not because he needs a reply to feel validated. Which man do you think she's more attracted to? It's the second one, without a doubt. Why? Because his confidence and self-assuredness are magnetic. He's not looking for her to complete him. He's already complete on his own. When you focus on your own value, you show her that you're a man with a life she wants to be part of, not someone who's dependent on her attention for his sense of worth. In Stoicism, there's a strong focus on cultivating your own virtue, becoming the best version of yourself, regardless of external circumstances. Epictetus famously said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you apply this to your dating life, it means investing in your personal growth rather than constantly seeking her approval. Ask yourself, what areas of your life could you be working on right now? Is there a skill you've been wanting to master, a fitness goal you've set, or a passion project you've put on hold? By dedicating time and energy to these pursuits, you're not only improving yourself, but you're also becoming more attractive in the process. You're showing her and everyone around you that you have a strong sense of purpose and direction. Imagine this. Instead of texting her every day asking, "Do you miss me?" you spend your time building a life that she misses when you're not around. You're busy with your own goals, your own passions, and your own pursuits. When you do connect, the conversation is richer because you have interesting things to share. You're not seeking her attention. You're inviting her to be part of the exciting, fulfilling life you've created for yourself. She starts to notice that you're different from other guys. You're not clingy or needy. You're confident, self-assured, and focused. You're the kind of man she can look up to, the kind of man she feels lucky to have in her life. And that's when she starts to chase you, because she realizes that a man like you is rare. The ultimate lesson is this. When you focus on your own value, you stop chasing and start attracting. You become the prize, the man who is secure in himself, who doesn't need to prove anything because he already knows his worth. And when you embody this mindset, she'll notice. She'll see that you're not like everyone else, that you're living a life full of passion and purpose, and that's when the real attraction begins, when she starts to realize that you're the kind of man she wants to be around. Not because you seek her validation, but because you don't need it. Number 9, detach from the outcome. You've set your standard. You've created space for her to miss you, and you've been present without being overbearing. Now comes the hardest part, letting go of the outcome. It's natural to want her to text you first, to hope she'll call every day, or to crave her validation when you've put in so much effort. But here's the truth that many overlook. When you're attached to the outcome, you give away your power. You place your sense of worth in her hands instead of keeping it within yourself. The real game changer? Detaching from needing her response, whether she texts you back immediately or not at all. Your value remains the same. It's not about being indifferent. It's about cultivating a calm, quiet confidence that doesn't rely on external validation. This is a core teaching of Stoicism, to focus on what we can control and release our grip on what we cannot. Imagine you send her a thoughtful text, something genuine and personal. You wait, checking your phone every few minutes, feeling a knot in your stomach as the minutes tick by without a reply. Your mood starts to dip, and you wonder if you said something wrong or if she's losing interest. This anxiety isn't just about the lack of response, it's about attachment. You've tied your self-worth to whether or not she replies quickly. This kind of thinking can lead to a cycle of insecurity. You might find yourself sending follow-up texts, trying to get a reaction, or even becoming frustrated when she doesn't respond the way you'd hoped. Instead of creating a relaxed, confident dynamic, you're projecting neediness and uncertainty, two things that can quickly diminish attraction. By letting go of attachment, you create a sense of inner peace. You're no longer riding an emotional roller coaster based on her reactions. Instead, you're centered and grounded, confident in your own value. This kind of energy is incredibly attractive because it's rare. Most people are chasing after validation, but you've risen above that. You're not seeking approval. You're simply showing up authentically and trusting the process. Imagine you've been dating someone for a while, and you decide to ask her out for the weekend. You send a message like, "I'd love to take you to that new restaurant we talked about. How does Saturday sound?" You're clear and confident, but you're not attached to her answer. If she says yes, great. You've got a plan. If she says she's busy, you don't take it personally. You respond with, "No worries, let's find another time that works," and you move on with your day. You're not overthinking her response or spiraling into self-doubt. You're detached from the outcome because you know that her availability or interest on a particular day doesn't define your value. This kind of calm, assured energy is irresistible. It shows her that you're confident enough to take the lead, but secure enough not to crumble if things don't go as planned. When you detach from the outcome, you embody true Stoic confidence. You're not chasing after her approval or trying to control her responses. You're focused on what you can control, your own actions, your own growth, and your own happiness. This kind of confidence creates a powerful, magnetic energy. She'll start to notice that you're different from other men she's dated. You're not waiting around for her to validate you. You're already validated by the life you've built and the person you've become. And that's when she starts to lean in, to text and call more. Not because you demanded it, but because she's naturally drawn to your unshakable presence. So, let go of attachment. Trust that if it's meant to be, it will be. And in the meantime, live your life fully and authentically. That's the kind of energy she won't be able to resist, and it's the ultimate expression of true Stoic wisdom. As we wrap up today's exploration of Stoic principles in modern dating, it's clear that the ancient wisdom of Stoicism offers more than just philosophical insights. It provides practical tools for fostering meaningful connections. By embracing the power of silence, setting the culture of communication, and embodying a calm, confident presence, you not only enhance your personal growth, but also attract the genuine interest and affection of others. Remember, it's not about manipulating emotions or playing games. It's about being present, authentic, and mindful in your interactions. As you apply these Stoic strategies, you're likely to notice a shift, not only in how she responds to you, but also in how you perceive your own value in relationships. If you found today's video insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Have you tried any of these Stoic techniques? How have they changed your approach to dating? And don't forget to check out the recommended videos on your screen for more advice on using Stoicism to navigate modern relationships. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you.